Saludos everybody, welcome back to Decent Shirt, where we play cards while we wear decent shirts. And for today's video, don't get it twisted, I may have a new haircut, I may look different, but we still have the S+ content that we always bring out for you guys. So let's get on to our second round of the Majursa versus Majesea face-off. Let's get on to the video. Okay, and for this second round, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to see that I do start with a rabbit, and we see our opponent starting off with possibly the slug rule combo. We do see a galaxy in his hand, so we do have Astrabbit, Jolton, Shield, Ursaden, and Tsunami, so that's a great start from my end. I'm gonna go and start by casting out Astrabbit to see what I get out of the top 3 cards in my hand. And we're gonna see that I'm gonna add an Ursier from the bunch, double Ursier and a shield. Didn't think that it was necessary to go for a shield because I already had one in my hand, had double disruption, and we do want to get as many bears as possible to then make our Ursaden live. So we're gonna see that I'm gonna just set 1 card fearing the hurricane, because if you set 2, it kind of provokes your opponent to really go ham with the hurricanes, and we do know that Majesea does happen to play hurricanes in this list. So we're seeing that our opponent does draw into an Astrabbit, which is probably the best option for the startup, because it does seem like he is missing a Poseidon. So we don't have a Poseidon in hand just yet. Maybe the Astrabbit will get it for him. He's like going through his options, thinking maybe I go on the offensive, maybe I go in the other way around, but it does seem like he's gonna go with the more optimal play, which is just to go for the rabbit and see if he can get access to all of his combo pieces. We do have the Sluggo in hand, and we just need a Poseidon to make the combo live. And from the looks of it, it does seem like he gets it through the ELESTRALS. So we're not gonna get it necessarily next turn, but at the very least, he does have all the combo pieces to try to search for the Poseidon. We're going to see him set the PTA and pass to you. So overall, solid turns for both players. We're going to be looking at the Jolton to see if we can get into an Ursaden. We do have one Ursaden already in hand, but this just like forces the opponent to use Gorgons if they want to stop it. Kind of like bluffing in a way. So we do get access to our second Ursaden, since he does not have a Gorgon Skates, which is great for us. Whatever happens to this Ursaden could possibly be mitigated by the fact that we do have a second one in hand. So we're going to see that I'm just going to keep it. I'm not going to choose to play it just yet. And I'm thinking if I should set another one, and I do decide to set a Tsunami. So again, at this point he did set 1 card, and the only way that he could get me is with a hurricane being set. Otherwise he is going to lose his set, which in this case is a PTA. So for that reason we decided we're gonna just set a card, see what he can go for. We do see him go for the Nog, so Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. Very nice, very nice. He does have the ELESTRALS in hand, so he does have combo, but he's thinking, okay, maybe I can draw into the Poseidon and I don't have to waste a turn trying to go for the Majesea. But ultimately we do see that he is going to go for the ELESTRALS, try to set things up for the next turn, turn 3 Majesea. We're thinking about whether we should Gorgons, but ultimately we say nah, we're good, we're just gonna allow it. We'll just Gorgons the Poseidon when it reaches his hand. So for now there's no guarantee that he does have the combo, so it's probably best just to hold on to the Gorgon's Gaze. He currently is not threatening board. He can try to crash, but I think that hurts him more than he hurts us, because we already got the value out of the Jolton. But he is choosing to set another card, looking at his options, and he is going to crash into the Jolton ultimately. I'm deciding, is it worth it to really use my set cards? We do have a Gorgons in our hand, and it does seem like we're gonna use it, and I think this is the right play, mainly because we do know that he is playing a water deck, so there are not gonna be many instances in which Tsunami is going to be live. So I'd rather just use a Tsunami now, see if we can get a lot of board state, and it does seem like we have our combo. We do play the Ursaden trying to get as much value of it as possible. We do cast our Ursier, which is going to allow us to on cast enchant the Ursidon with an additional spirit. And we're going to see that I'm going to be debating which spirit I want to enchant the Ursidon with. But ultimately I'm going to go with the Thunder Spirit because I think I already got the value out of the Thunder Elestrals in my deck currently. We do play Zeus in this list, but I still have one last Thunder Spirit that I can use, so I'm just going to start racking it up with spirits that I don't need for my other Ursa Elestrals. We do change the Jolt into attack position, and we're going to try to swing with the Ursier. We do see him go for the Altar of Stars, which is a really solid play. It's going to change the Ursier to defense, and also be able to proc the Astrabbit, which is really solid. Not only did you get the Jolt Dielichic out of the field, you procced Astrabbit, you changed my Ursier to defense, and overall, I gotta say that this is a really solid play. He's thinking about Ambro, Astrabbit, or Galaxy. In this case, it's a tough choose. I probably would have added Galaxy just because if we can guarantee the Majesea the next turn, you have one Galaxy in hand. You can just wait a turn, or you can have it in defense and then basically play defensive until you can cast your Galaxy. And if you have double Galaxy, the resources are going to be used on the first Galaxy, which would probably mean that the second Galaxy is scot-free to play, and that means that your Galaxy is probably going to make your Majesea a 14 attack Elestral. But alas, he does choose for the Ambrosia, which is completely fine. He is going for the more heal stall part of this strategy deck. He's really thinking, okay, what exactly do I want to go for? Am I going to go for the combo? We do see him go for the Sluggle, and I'm thinking, okay, do I want to go for it? He goes for the Poseidon. I'm thinking, am I going to use the Gorgon's Gaze on this Sluggle? I'm thinking, if it's really worth it. He's gonna add 3 spirits to the Poseidon, which is interesting. Normally you would just go for 2 in this instance, but maybe he does have something off his sleeve. Maybe he has Poseidon's Fury in his hand. We're gonna have to wait. Oh, we do see the Gorgons after the Nexus, so ultimately we do stop that play. We do not want to be hampered by the Majesea. Now, Majesea doesn't really put a lot of pressure in terms of stats. However, it does make my Majursa lose its effect. Therefore, that's why we try to stop it, because if we did want to go for the Majursa next following turn, we would not be able to do so due to the fact that all of our Elestrals would be water as long as it's in attack position. Now, that does not account for the fact that Majesea does only have 6 attack and Majursa does have 8 attack, which would then mean that ultimately we would be able to still swing over it, but we're gonna choose to use the Astrabbit effect, and we're gonna see why it's so strong in this deck. It's the fact that it allows you to get to the combo pieces, such as the Hibernation, which is what we just added right now to the hand, which is perfect. We're thinking, okay, so we do have the play. We're thinking, is it worth it to go for it now? I do think that it would be worth it, considering the fact that we did stop with the Gorgon's Gaze, the Majesea, so it is worth trying to gamble. He does only have 1 set, but we do have an Ursier, so we're thinking, okay, maybe I should go for the attack, and that's exactly what we're going to see him try to do, or myself do. We're going to be able to proc the Ursier effect because we are able to run over the Sluggle, which is amazing. It means that not only are we going to get another body on board, which is also going to have enough to beat over the Astrabbit, but also be able to enchant another spirit to the Ursidon, which is really big for this deck. It does mean that next turn we can potentially go for the Ursidon with the Hibernation and not lose the Ursidon after disenchanting the 4 spirits, which is, again, sneakily really good in this deck. So we're just going through the motions. We're going to swing with the Abomin Ursa now because it does get +2 for every other Ursa. That would make it 5. But since we have the Stadium in play, that does mean that our Abominursa is actually 6 attack, which is clutch, very clutch. But we do see that since he read it, he was like, okay, maybe I should go for the PTA, and that's exactly what we're seeing him go for. He's gonna go and PTA the Abominursa to make sure that the Ash Rabbit is not able to be destroyed. So we do have one Ash Rabbit with double enchantment. He does have Majesea in hand, so there's a couple of things he can do for right now. But he really does have to think, okay, what is the best option right now? Currently, I do have an Ursident all charged up, which means that the deck is basically in full motion. He's thinking, okay, he does have the Sluggle, so he can go for the Majesea this turn again. And I do only have one set. I already used one of my Gorgon's cases, so what are the likelihood of me getting off a second Gorgon's Gaze to stop the Poseidon Sluggle combo? Very low, to be honest. So he has to be thinking, okay, I do have Altar of Stars, which is an interruption. He does have the Sluggle combo. He does have a body on board with 5 defense, which is going to be hard for the opponent to get over. But we're going to definitely see that he's going to go for the Sluggle combo at this point. He's going to enchant and cast the Sluggle with a Water Spirit, and going to then use the Poseidon effect to pass 1 to the Sluggle. We're going to see the combo in full swing. When Sluggle receives a Water Spirit from a Poseidon's effect, he is allowed to then ascend into a Glavi from either the hand or the deck, which allows you to go into the base set. Beautiful Stellar that we have there, Glavi. The Glavi that we have there is the one from base set, which says that if it has 3 spirits behind it, or below, on whatever it is behind it, you're going to be allowed to then ascend into a Majesea, and that includes the newest Majesea. So here we have a full swing of a full combo that goes into turn 4, I think it is, a Majesea. In one single turn, you're able to cast out the Majesea, which with the Poseidon effect in place, and also the Majesea in attack position, allows to turn all of the opponent's Elestrals into water enchanted, no matter what spirits they had before it. So that means that currently all my Elestrals are water enchanted, which is bad news for me, because it does mean that I don't have any I don't have any kind of effects on board right now. This is great for him as long as he's able to protect the Majesea. I do think that this was sort of a risky play, but as long as I am not able to really swing over, we do see that I do have the shield, which is going to be very bad for my opponent. It does mean that the Majesea is going to go all downhill from there. I do think that he still had to attack to try to put some momentum in his favor, but at the same time, the fact that he was so aggressive led him to go for the shield. I do think that if he had the Galaxy, if he waited a turn, he probably could have gone for a better, more momentum swinging turn. But at last, we do go for the Hibernation that I mentioned before. We have now 6 spirits, and Hibernation not only lets you enchant the Ursident with 2 spirits, it also allows you to draw a card. I think this combination of effects is kind of broken on an Invoke rune of all things. So we're gonna see me go for the Majursa, and at this point the Majursa is gonna go in full power because it does retain its effect since Majesea is no longer on the field. So at this point, it's gonna be very hard for the opponent to come back, especially because I'm going to be able to destroy 2 cards on the field when the Majursa comes into play. He's going to see that there's probably not much he can do. I'm gonna swing and I'm going to destroy the Ash Rabbit, and he did have Altar of Stars, but he decided not to go for it because he does say that it's basically game from there. We go and swing, and we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 damage don't know why my opponent chose not to play the Altar of Stars. I do think that would have bought him at least another turn, but we do see in his hand that he does have Ambrosia though, so Ambro would have made a big difference. I don't know why he didn't go for the Altar of Stars ultimately, if he was gonna lose it anyway. But here we go. We do have Ambro. He's gonna go for the Ash Rabbit, which is going to allow him to look at 3 more cards. We do see him get into the Gorgon Skates, which is going to be good news for him. But he does only have 2 spirits left on his spirit deck. So is there really much that my opponent can do is what we're going to be figuring out right now. I'm going to draw a card and I'm going to look at my hand. Currently I do have another Ursula in my hand. I'm going to decide what exactly I want to go for. We do see him reveal the Majesea that we sent back to his hand. And at this point, I guess that we're just going through the motions. But it's pretty much a wrap from there. Because Majursa is just going to be able to swing over everything. As you can see here, my opponent did concede. He did have a Gorgons, but that was not going to stop everything. So ultimately, we do see our opponent concede, and that will be the end of the match. Okay guys, we are back. What do you guys think about the match? So ultimately, it was Majursa that was able to take the game and the match because of his very powerful effect of nuking the board, or at least nuking 2 to 3 cards at the same time. We did see our opponent get the Majesea out a little bit late, but he did get it out eventually. The only problem is that probably he should have played it a little bit more defensive and hope that he had enough to stop it. Maybe he shouldn't have gone for the attack. Maybe he just should have waited and hope to see if my opponent, if his opponent, in this case myself, was going to proc the Ursa then either way to just try to swing over it. That would have made him use the Altar of Stars. I do think that that was a mis-sequencing from his part and a misplay overall. But at last, I do think that it was a really solid game to show both strengths and weaknesses of the decks, and how the Ursas look like a real contender right now. The fact that they have many different lines to their combos and that Majursa is such a great boss monster really goes to show that Firestorm is going to shake things up quite a bit. So having said that, that would be all from me. I hope that you guys enjoyed the game. I hope that you guys like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have more matches with more Firestorm decks coming on, and I hope that you are here to see that. So having said that, that will be all from me, D Cinchert, sign it out.